Right, people, it is transfer deadline day, and at the time of recording, 11 a.m. on Monday, the 3rd of February, Chelsea are yet to bring in any new players to Stamford Bridge in this winter transfer window. We have, however, brought back our boy Trevor Chalobah after his successful loan spell was cut short at Crystal Palace. And you know what? There's probably not going to be all that much positivity in this video. So let's get it out of the way right now and say that is a good bit of business. It is a bit of business that was very much needed, and it is a bit of business that I believe will help our squad going forward, and our starting 11 for that matter going forward be better defensively between now and the end of the season. But we really do need to speak about the mistakes that have been made in this transfer window. But people, before we get into all that, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, please do hit the subscribe button right now. Smash the like button right now if you agree with me, which is that Chelsea do need to bring in some more players before the transfer deadline. And as always, Joey and Josh, my joint podcast with Josh, is linked in the description. Please go over there, subscribe to that channel, watch the latest video that was uploaded yesterday. Let's get back in to the deadline day dealings. Now, officially, both Slanina and David Datro Fofana have been recalled from their loan spells, but both of them have been recalled because they have injuries and therefore probably won't be anywhere near our team anyway. Are they of the quality to be anywhere near our team anyway? I don't know. And as for Anselmino, if I'm pronouncing that right, he has been recalled, but apparently it could be that he is going to be going out to Marseille on loan. Now, that deal at this moment in time, and listen, I'm juggling plates here, things are changing constantly. That deal looks like it could be off, and therefore, maybe he could play some sort of role in our defence until the end of the season, but I don't know about that one. If he does go to Marseille, then I've got to say that, you know, it could be a good loan move for him. He will get minutes probably over there in a top 5 European league, and that could be good for him. So either way, you've now got to look at Chelsea's squad, and there are certain areas, in my opinion, that are starting to look very, very thin, and there are other areas that are just starting to look weak. So let's identify and recognise those areas. Now, left back is where we will start, because we have 2 recognised left backs at Chelsea Football Club at this moment in time: Chukwuemeka and Ben Chilwell. Chile has played about 45 minutes for us this season. I believe it was at a game that I was at against Barrow in the Cup. Obviously, Enzo Maresca doesn't feel that he fits the system, and I completely understand that. But I do believe that things change over the course of a season. That's why we brought Trevor Chalobah back in to the fold. And I do believe that potentially Ben Chilwell, if fit and available, being a Champions League winner, being a full England international, and being a mature player in the squad, should have been looked at to be brought back into this team at times, if I'm being completely honest, especially with the Conference League games, which, you know, when we re-register the squad, we'll have the likes of Cole Palmer in there. We'll have the likes of some of the players that we hadn't initially included in there, and the Conference League being whatever it is, wherever you rate it and whatnot, we're now going to be progressing through the levels and facing tougher teams. I do think that should have been addressed. But the latest is that he has now agreed personal terms with Crystal Palace. He being Ben Chilwell. He will be going there on loan until the end of the season, providing his medical, which is probably being done as we speak right now, all goes successfully and everything's done. The wages will be covered by Crystal Palace. So does that leave us short at left back? I think yes, definitely, but you could argue that the system doesn't really play out with Chukwuemeka in that left-back role, does it? So, really, you more so look at the centre-back options, and in terms of those centre-back options, they're the ones that are more predominantly going to be fielded or filling the positions of that area of the pitch. And obviously we do have the likes at the moment, without injury, touch wood, of Chilwell, of Trevor Chalobah, of Tosin Adarabioyo, who could all play over there. Badiashile, we don't know when he'll be back, but we're hearing that he will be back within the next month or so. Hopefully. Fofana out for the rest of the season. You could also make a case for Reece James playing over there. We have seen him do that this season. He played in the left-sided sort of centre-back role. I believe it was away at Man United, was it? Correct me if I'm wrong. And also, I've always maintained that I do believe that Malo Gusto can do a very good job at left-back. We've seen him there quite a lot, way more so under Mauricio Pochettino. So, Fofana out for the rest of the season. Badiashile out for maybe another month, maybe a couple of more months, and I just pray that Reece James stays fit. But with Malo Gusto, Chilwell, Chalobah, Tosin, Achampong, Cucurella, and for this moment in time right now, Axel Disasi, that probably leaves us with enough in terms of numbers in the back line. Does it leave us with enough in terms of quality in the back line? I can't answer that. You lot tell me in the comment section below. Hate to be negative, but I'd maybe lean towards no, it doesn't at this moment in time. However, we spoke about Axel Disasi, and there's an Axel Disasi merry-go-round going on here, because Aston Villa had come in and agreed personal terms with Axel Disasi. Axel Disasi looks like he wanted to go to Aston Villa. Now, Spurs have come in and agreed a deal with Chelsea, but Axel Disasi apparently doesn't want to go to Spurs, which I've got to somewhat respect him for, by the way. I like the fact that he don't want to go and play for Tottenham. Chelsea are more willing to give Axel Disasi to Spurs rather than to Aston Villa, because they don't see Spurs as direct competition for the places that they are trying to compete for. I understand that. I do understand that. If you see Aston Villa as direct competition for those Champions League spots, then you don't want to strengthen them. But at the same time, let's be honest here, yeah? Let's be honest here. We've already strengthened them once when we gave him Ian Maatsen, yeah? And when you look at Axel Disasi, if you look at Aston Villa, who are below us in the league, if he isn't deemed good enough to play for Chelsea, who are above Aston Villa in the league, is he really strengthening Aston Villa if we send him to Aston Villa? Do you know what I mean? Oh, I don't know. I feel like, is he even strengthening them? I don't know. The truth is, though, when you look at the likes of definitely Ben Chilwell, definitely Axel Disasi, if they go out on loan and they look good, then we might get fees for them in the summer. And I know that that's not what you want to hear today, because in the here and now, we want business done. I'm guessing most of you would agree with me that we want business done. But the truth is, if we do get fees for these boys, then maybe we can get our shit together, and that enhances our chance investing in the right areas in the summer. So just to summarise, would I have liked a high-level centre-back alongside Trevor Chalobah being brought in this window? Yes. Do I think that that's going to happen before the deadline? No. Do I think that that often happens in a January transfer window? No. So am I enraged about the business that we've done with our backline during this January transfer window? No. I'm not hugely enraged about it. It could have been better. It could have been worse. I'm not that bothered about it for the time being a realistic Chelsea fan and trying to stay level-headed. But the business that we are doing with our midfield, right, especially when it comes to defensive and attacking options in that midfield, is pretty fucking tragic, if you ask me, because Enzo Maresca clearly doesn't fancy Cole Palmer playing on the right wing where he was so successful last season. He only sees Cole Palmer as a centre attacking midfielder, meaning on the right wing you're rotating between Noni Madueke and you're rotating between Pedro Neto, right? Now, both of them have had some great moments for us so far this season. But also, if you're being completely honest, both have had patchy form for us, especially of recent. Meaning that if Cole Palmer is the locked-in number 10 with two players behind him right, in Joao Felix and Christopher Nkunku in the pecking order, both of them are going to be unhappy that he's getting all the minutes, they're getting no minutes, and I understand that it's merited on quality of Cole Palmer, but at the same time, with the lack of game time that both of those two have now received as backup options, I don't know. What happens if we go and get an injury to Cole Palmer? You're going to have Joao Felix, who may or may not move before the end of tonight's deadline. And if he does move, because he's the more likely option to move, you look at the fact that Enzo Maresca has put way more faith in Nkunku than he has in Joao Felix, to be honest, and would probably see Nkunku as higher in the pecking order than Joao Felix. You would imagine that Nkunku's the one that stays. And Nkunku looks completely disinterested, to be honest, when he has been given the opportunity of a few minutes and whatnot. And I've always said I don't blame Nkunku for it, but at the same time, if you do stay, you're on 100 plus grand a week or whatever you're on, get fucking interested. Get interested, because we might well need you. We may well need you. And when we speak about Cole Palmer, right? Listen, I feel like he's played through multiple minor injuries this season, and I feel like he's been carrying a knock for a while now. And yeah, I'm not really happy with our backup in that position, considering that one of Nkunku or Joao Felix could still leave before the deadline. Probably more likely Joao Felix. And if it is, Nkunku doesn't really look all that interested. Maybe if something was to happen, the system was to change, things could change. But as for right now, I'm not really that happy with it, because there is one more player that plays in that position who I would have loved to have seen more minutes from, who I believe is a really good player, and who I really can't understand why he's been exiled pretty much the whole season, and that is Carney Chukwuemeka. Now, Carney Chukwuemeka has agreed a deal now to go out on loan to Borussia Dortmund, and I'm going to be honest, if he gets the minutes over there and the game time over there, I can see Chukwuemeka absolutely tearing it up in the Bundesliga. I really do believe that he's a good player, Carney Chukwuemeka. So, he's going to be on the move, and then worst case scenario, you're stuck with a disinterested Nkunku as backup to Cole Palmer, and he is going to need backup, by the way. We need to be, either moving him out wide in games or even subbing him off sometimes in games. That's my belief, if he is carrying a bit of a knock, or if we are to freshen up the front line at times. And yeah, I don't know. I think that centre attacking midfield area is not a position that we are thin in, but a position that we are weak in. Okay? So you look at left back, potentially thin there. You look at centre attacking midfield, potentially weak there, because we do have the options, but there's a drop off once you go from Cole Palmer downwards. Now let's drop back into central and defensive areas of midfield, because I've got to be honest with you lot, we are one accident away from being completely fucked here. I really do feel like that. Enzo and Caicedo are having to play more or less every minute at the moment, with summer signing Kieran Dewsbury Hall not really looking up to scratch. Romeo Lavia constantly in and out of the team through injury. We don't really know when he's going to be coming back. And by the way, we've moved on the likes of Cesar Casadei this window, and Renato Vega on a loan to Juventus. So both boys have gone out to Serie A, but we haven't recalled either Chukwuemeka or Andre Santos. Now that for me would make perfect sense. To have recalled Andre Santos, and if not him, Chukwuemeka. Petrovic while we're at it. But either way, not only that, as of yet, no news on Chelsea going in for a central midfielder. There has been news about the kid from Manchester City. However, I'm checking my phone now because Fabrizio Romano is constantly giving out updates. But yeah, as of right now, that one doesn't look like it's going to be happening. We don't know anything about him. None of you lot have really seen him play. I haven't really seen him play. I don't know. Man City apparently want a big fee for him, and why would we go and do that? When we have Andre Santos and Chukwuemeka available to bring back from their loan spells? It is ridiculous. So, with Lavia out, no date for return, if we get an injury to Enzo, or more prominently Caicedo, believe me, we are well and truly fucked here. We really are. And this is where the board have gone completely wrong in this transfer window. Completely wrong. One of Santos or Chukwu should have been recalled. If not, a capable central midfielder should have been signed. And I completely understand that when there is probably not going to be a clamour to spend all that much from the board in that area of the pitch, then you don't want to go and spend big on a central midfielder because you've already done so 3 times on the likes of Enzo, Caicedo and Romeo Lavia. But when you sent 2 of them out and you've got 2 out on loan who are better than what we've got in Kiernan Dewsbury Hall and God knows who else we would play as a central midfielder, I just don't understand it. I honestly just don't understand it. I think that you have to admit that the board have absolutely fucked it there. They have. Teams around us are dropping points. And tonight, we could finish the game in the Champions League spots, the guaranteed Champions League spots, in the top 4. But also tonight, and I don't want to jinx things, you could go and get an injury to Caicedo and then that completely kills our season off. And the board have not addressed that that is a possibility that could happen and have not put out a contingency plan for if that did happen. Because believe me, if you think that we're going to go and get top 4 with Enzo and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall in the midfield for the rest of the season, it's not going to happen. And it's not on Maresca. It's on the board. It is on the board. You could have brung back Andre Santos. You've had the whole window to do it and you haven't done it. It is criminal. It's criminal. And you can say that Maresca may have weakened us to an extent in terms of not giving the likes of Nkunku and Felix more minutes, because now that if they do stay, you know, when they're playing, they're probably knowing they're playing second fiddle. They're getting the hospital minutes basically and they're, you know, not going to be that interested. But as I said earlier on in the video, if you're earning over 100 grand a week, you need to be fucking interested. Now, Jackson's injury record has been very good, to be fair, and I do think that the goals will start to come against from him. And do you know what? I feel like if Enzo Maresca can get it to tick, then we can see the free-flowing football that we saw earlier on in the season. So in terms of attacking options, I'm not that bothered. I'm not bothered that we didn't go and sign a Garnacho, or we probably won't have by the end of this transfer window. You know, I'm pretty happy with what we've got as for this moment in time, because I think that in January you often get a lot of panic buys, and I'd rather not have a panic buy and start to see Mark Gu giving a few more minutes here and there and whatnot, and the other boys. But, as I say, an injury to Caicedo, an injury to Enzo would, for me, change my stance in believing that we're going to get Champions League football this season. But either way, I don't want to leave this video all doom and gloom here, because I believe that we're going to beat Graham Potter's West Ham tonight. That's going to put us back in the spots for guaranteed Champions League qualification, and then we can look forward. So there we go. There we go. But if the window ends tonight and we haven't reinforced at all in that midfield, we've ended up letting go of Casadei, Vega, and possibly Carney, Chukwuemeka. I think that's criminal. I think that's criminal. And when you look at the narrative at the start of this season, how contrasting is it that we were looked at still as having an over-bloated squad and whatnot, and then tonight when the squads are released and the lineups are put out, have a look at tonight's bench and tell me that we are not thin here. So there will be more that happens in terms of comings and outgoings. And let's just take a look here at this team sheet on screen right now, because this will raise a bit of positivity, and that's definitely what I want to do before the end of the video. Now, if that team, right, despite a little bit of rotation here and there, is able to stay fit until the end of the season, I genuinely think that we'll have enough. We will. But the likelihood is, with Chelsea, this team isn't going to be kept preserved, uninjured and intact. So, sorry for the negative video, people, but I do have to raise my concerns here a little bit. Now, I am going to be trying to do the live stream tonight, but some of you lot have figured out already that the audio has not been great on the live streams. I'm going to try with Josh to get that sorted for you, and then hopefully we can get the live stream tonight. If not, you'll have an immediate video out after the Chelsea against West Ham game. But yeah, let's stay positive. We'll smash the pot dog when he comes back to Stamford Bridge tonight and hopefully move back into those top 4 spots. And hopefully something gets pulled out the bag and we end up signing a midfielder in this window. Where have I gone wrong? Are there any positions that seriously concern you? I know a lot of you lot will speak about the goalkeeper. I believe that we should have brought Petrovic back, but hopefully when we see the starting lineup tonight, we see Jorgensen in there instead of Sanchez, and we move forward with that. But you lot let me know, where have we gone wrong? What have I not discussed here? And do you think we'll get any business done? I'll see you all in the next one.